Hello student, this is the second part of video content of Geography Lesson 7 Lifelines of National Economy. In this portion, we are going to discuss about the railways, pipelines and waterways. Let's start. Student, there is no denying the fact that railway is the main mode of transport with its wider network. Of all other means of transport put together, the railways have become far more important in our national economy. They have thus been rightly called the system of national transportation because of the following benefits that we draw from the railways. Let's discuss the importance of railways. Students, railways are the principal mode of transportation for goods and passengers in India. Besides, they are very useful, particularly for carrying heavy goods. They can even carry goods to comparatively longer distances and compared to other means of transport. They give employment to large number of people. Students, they connect all the important towns, important ports, and important aerodromes with each other. The Indian Railways are the largest public undertaking run by the central government. Moreover, railways support tourism. However, railways are facing many challenges. Let us take a look on some of them. Students, the very first challenge is many passengers travel without tickets. Besides, it is illegal too. As we know, every railway coach has emergency stop chain for safety purposes of passenger. And people pull chain unnecessarily, which cause heavy loss to the railways. As a result, disruption of train schedule too. Even frequent accidents also cause great loss to the railways. Nowadays, Airways is also giving it a tough competition. Student, Indian Railways network run on multiple gauge operation, and we have three category in that: broad gauge, meter gauge and narrow gauge. As you can see in the picture, we have that three different variety of gauge in railways. And what do you mean by the gauge? The gauge of the railway track is a clear minimum vertical distance between the inner side of two tracks is called railway gauge. Here in this map, as you can see, the distribution pattern of the railways, and the distribution pattern of the railway network in the country has been largely influenced by topography, economic and administrative factors. As you can see, the northern plains have high density of railway lines due to vast level land, high population density and rich agricultural resources, uh, whereas in the hilly terrains of the peninsular region, railway tracks are laid through low hills or gap or tunnels. The Himalayan mountain regions like Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, Uttarakhand and other northern eastern states too are unfavorable for the construction of railway lines due to high relief, less density of population and lack of economic opportunities. As you can see over here, there is no railway facility in these hilly regions because of the physiographic factor over here in these regions of from Jammu and Kashmir till over here Arunachal Pradesh. It is also difficult to lay railway line on the sandy plain of western Rajasthan, swamps of Gujarat, forest tracts of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Jharkhand. I hope this is now clear to you all. Now our next topic is pipelines. Pipeline transport is becoming a very important means of transportation, especially for the petrochemical industries. In the past, pipelines were used only to transport water, but now they are used for transporting crude oil, natural gas, petroleum products, etc. Now let us discuss the advantages of pipelines transport. Transportation through pipelines rule out delay and transportation losses. Hence, many fertilizer plant and thermal power stations are benefited by the supply of gas through pipelines. Though initial cost of laying pipeline is high, but running cost is very low. This is why it maintains continuous supply of gas and oil. The pipes can be laid through difficult terrain as well as undersea. Students, there are three important networks of pipelines transportation in the country. Number one, from oil field in Upper Assam to Kanpur. As you can see over here in the map, it stretches from Upper Assam, that is Digboi, to Kanpur, and here from Barauni, it has branches towards Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh, which is now Prayagraj, and it has also branches from Barauni to Haldia, which is there in West Bengal. Second is Salaya to Jalandhar via Veeragram, Mathura and Sonipat. Here, as you can see, Salaya in Gujarat till Jalandhar in Punjab. It has also a branch to connect Koyali. Third is gas pipeline, which is famous known as HVJ pipeline. Hajira to Jagdishpur via Vijapur in MP. As you can see in this third category of here in the map, HVJ pipeline, this is from Hajira to Jagdishpur, finally connected into New Delhi. Moving on. Waterways. Waterways are the cheapest and oldest means of transport. Let us discuss the importance of waterways. Student, it is the most suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods. It is a fuel efficient and environment friendly mode of transport. The element of wear and tear is very less in waterways transportation. Here we have inland waterways. Students, there are 14,500 kilometers of navigable and potentially navigable inland waterways in the country, of which the following 5 inland waterways have been declared as national waterways, that is National Waterway 1, National Waterway 2, National Waterway 3, National Waterway 4, and National Waterway 5. Let me show you on a map, and we are going to discuss each and every waterway in detail. As you can see over here, National Waterway 1, the Ganga River provides about 1,620 kilometers of navigable waterways between Prayagraj to Haldia. Here to Haldia to Prayagraj. Next category is National Waterway 2. The Brahmaputra River, as you can see over here, the Brahmaputra River provides about 891 kilometers of waterways between Shodhia and Dhubri. Now next in category is National Waterway 3. Students, 3 canals in Kerala, as you can see the location of National Waterway 3 in Kerala, also provide some navigable waterways. canal between Kollam and Kottayam, the Champakara Canal, and a Udyog Mandal Canal, as you can see over here. Now move on to National Waterways 4. Student, its total length is 1027 kilometer in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu and Union Territory of Puducherry. So this facilitates these states. And last in category is National Waterway 5. Its total length is 588 kilometer in the states of West Bengal and Odisha. Now moving on. Next in category is major seaports in India. Students, as we know that India has a long coastline of 7,500 kilometers. There are about 12 major seaports and 181 medium and minor seaports. Let us discuss the major seaports in India. First, we are going to discuss the ports of the west coast. As we can see, the Indian peninsula, we have here two coast in different direction. One is in east and one it is in west. So here we start with the first, the post which is located in the western coast. Number one in this category is Kandla. Kandla Port. It was the first port to be developed soon after the independence to fulfill the loss of Karachi port, which went to the Pakistan after partition. Next in category is Mumbai Port. As you can see on a map too, Mumbai Port, it is the biggest port with a spacious, natural and well-sheltered harbor. Next is Jawaharlal Nehru Port. Student, this is the latest addition to our major ports to relieve the heavy congestion at Mumbai Port. Next is Marma-Goa Port. It is the first iron ore exporting port of the country. Next is New Mangalore. It is located in Karnataka. It caters to the export of iron ore concentrate from Kudramukh mines. Next is Kochi. It is extreme southwestern port located at the entrance of a lagoon with a natural harbor. Now we are going to discuss the ports of the East Coast. In East Coast, we have first in category is Tuticorin. Tuticorin Port. It is in Tamil Nadu. This port has a natural harbor and rich hinterland. What do you mean by the word hinterland? It means that thus it has a flourishing trade handling of a large variety of cargoes to even our neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Maldives, etc. and the coastal regions. Next is Chennai Port. It is one of the oldest artificial port of the country. After that, Visakhapatnam. It is deepest landlocked and well-protected port. As you can see in the map, it is landlocked means it's all side, mainly leaving the one side covered with the land. Paradip Port. It is an inland riverine port. It is a tidal port, so it requires constant dredging of Hooghly. And last in the list is Haldia Port. It lies in West Bengal. It was developed to reduce the load on Kolkata port.